All right, so in this video, we're going to learn how to use Venn diagrams to help us find different probabilities. So I'm going to start off by looking at a situation where I have juniors and seniors. So I've got a circle for my juniors and a circle for my seniors. And I'm going to say that 24% of the people at the students at a high school are juniors and 22% of the students at that high school are seniors. Well, these two events are mutually exclusive or disjoint, which means that they cannot happen at the same time. That's why the two circles do not overlap. Well, to answer this question, what percent are neither juniors or seniors? What I need to do is figure out what percent is outside of these two circles. So 24% plus 22% is 46%. So if I come down here, I actually should probably come down here and look at these two probabilities. What is the probability of being a junior and a senior? Well, we can see from the Venn diagram that that probability is 0. There is no overlap. There is no one that is both a junior and a senior. Well, what about the probability of being a junior or a senior? Well, in that case, I would just add those two probabilities together, which is 46%. Finally, I can come over to here at the question I was looking at before, where it says what percent are neither juniors or seniors. So what I'm looking for is this, the complement of junior or senior. Well, 1 minus what's inside of both circles, which is 46%, is 54%. So outside of the two circles is 54 or 0.54% or 0.54. So this is a Venn diagram that helps us to visualize the answers to these three questions. And using a Venn diagram can be very, very helpful. Well, before we go to these other two Venn diagrams, let's look at the rules for building a Venn diagram. We want to start with the intersection of all the categories. After we look at the intersection of all the categories, we then continue to look at the other intersections if there are any. And then finally, we finish with our main categories and complete anything else that needs to be completed. So let's go through this. Let's take a look at this example up in the top right-hand corner. It says 95% of people at North High are students, 5% are teachers, and 1% are both students and teachers. I'm not sure how 1% are both students and teachers, but we're going to roll with it. So let's start with the intersection of the categories. Well, the intersection of students and teachers is 1%. It tells me that 1% are both. So I'm going to put that 1% there. And then we go and continue with other intersections. Well, there are no other intersections for this example, so I can finish off the main categories. Well, it tells me that 95% of people at North High are students. So everything inside of this circle for students has to add up to 95%. I already have 1% inside the circle, so this part of the circle can be filled in with 0.94 or 94%. It goes on to tell me that 5% are teachers. So everything inside of this circle has to add up to 5%. I already have 1% inside of the circle. So over here this part of the circle has to be 4%. Now everything inside the circle adds up to 5%. So if I have 94% here, 1% here, and 4% here, that adds up to 94 plus 1 is 95, 95 plus 4 is 99. So on the outside of these two circles is 1%. And there's a Venn diagram that can help me answer questions. So what about this question here? What percent are just teachers? Well, that would be this part of the circle right here. I'll highlight it. That would be just this part of the Venn diagram. So my answer to the question, what percent are just teachers, would be 4%. So let's put things back where they belong. There we go, 4%. All right, well, what about this scenario over here? It says 30% of students play a sport, 15% of the students play in band, 10% of the students are in drama, 1% do all three, 8% play a sport and are in band, 2% are in drama and band, and 3% are in a sport and drama. Well, I'm going to follow these guidelines. Start with the intersection of all the categories. And the intersection of all the categories would be all three, which is 1%. Then I'm going to move to any other intersections. Well, I'm going to look at, let's start with this. 8% play a sport and are in band. So this little part right here has to be sport and band, and it has to add up to 8%. Well, I already have 1% in there, so this intersection has to be 7%. Let's move on to, let's see, let's do 2% are in drama and band. So I'm going right here, this intersection right here. Well, 2% are in both drama and band, but I already have 1% in there. So this part of the intersection has to be the other 1% to add up to the 2%. 3% are in a sport and drama. Well, I already have 1% inside of this overlap. So I need to pull in a 2% right there. 2% plus the 1% gives me my 3%. Now I can go to the main categories. Let's go with sport. It says 30% of the students play a sport. Well, I already have 7 plus 1 plus 2, which is 10% inside of this circle for sport. So the rest has to be 20%. So if we add up everything that's inside the sports circle, I get 20 plus 2, which is 22, plus 1, which is 23, plus 7, which is 30, and there's my total of 30%. If I continue to work and fill in these circles, B, which is band, says 15% of the students are in band. Well, I already have 7 plus 1 plus 1, which is 9%, which means this has to be 6%. So everything inside the band circle is now 15%. And finally, the last circle, drama. 10% of the students are in drama. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4%. That means this has to be 6%. And once again, everything inside of the drama circle adds up to 10%. If I take everything inside of all of these circles, 20 plus 7 plus 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 6%. That ends up giving me 43%, I believe. Yes. And so what's outside of those would be 57% or 0.57. So hopefully, well, let's take a look at this question. I was going to end, but let's look at this question. What percent of the students are not involved in sports, band, or drama? Well, 57% of the students are not involved in any of those because that's what's outside of the circles. Hopefully this has helped you understand how to use Venn diagrams and how to set them up, and I hope you have fun in your stats class.